All right, what's going on? It's Bobby Skinner talking Giants. Giants win, doing a reaction to the Giants preseason win. Giants 25, Bengals 22. First of all, just a fun game overall for the Giants. I mean, Davis Webb and Alex Bachman, basically heroes at this point. I mean, imagine if it was 2017 and someone told you in 2022 Davis Webb was going to lead back-to-back game-winning drives and the Giants would be undefeated. You'd be like, man, Jerry Reese has really pulled it together after Eli Manning. But anyways, it was a fun game. I'm going to get into all the notes and stuff out of it. First, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out the channel. I mean, we have a bunch of stuff. We're going to have a podcast out in the morning. We do film breakdowns once the season goes along. We have a lot of stuff and interviews as well. So make sure to like and subscribe. I always forget to ask people to do that. So let's start with the biggest thing, though. Kayvon Thibodeaux went down after a Thaddeus Moss, Randy Moss' son who plays tight end, cut block. He seems to be good. He said to Jordan Renan after the game, he said, "I'm good. We're good. Good news." So seems to be good. You know, he was laughing with his teammates on the sideline after he walked. Obviously, they want to be careful with it, but just good because at first, you know, the way he went down, holding his knee, the way his knee bent, that was very worrisome. And obviously, we can't afford Kayvon Thibodeaux to be injured. You know, he's supposed to be expected to be a cornerstone piece going forward, and we couldn't have him lose his rookie season. So hopefully good news. You got to wait for tests on it, but glad that he's okay. I actually don't think it was a dirty play either. It was the block was bad, maybe unnecessary, but it's a legal play. You know, Daniel Bellinger had that same block last week, and he just performed it better. But Kayvon's got to watch himself on those. Like, hey, when a tight end's wham blocking you, they're going to go low on you, so you got to be careful. So but hopefully he's all right. Seems to be all right. So good stuff there. Now let's talk about Daniel Jones. Went 14 of 16, 116 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. I'd say if you didn't watch the game, say 1 interception. Well, the Giants are cursed by their tight ends. Daniel Bellinger, who had 0 drops last year at San Diego State, hit him in the hands. Great throw. Popped it up, ends up being an interception for Dax Hill, the first-round pick for Cincinnati out of Michigan, who I liked a lot. But he only had 2 incompletions, one being that dropped interception, and the other throw being a deep pass to David Sills. That was still a good throw. So he looked really good, and it was against the Bengals' backup, so he should be good. But I'm glad to see what we did out of Daniel Jones. Checked it down to start a little bit, but he did have some nice throws. You know, he had a David Sills back shoulder on the left side, tight window throw to Colin Johnson that he ended up bobbling, but still a nice throw. An RPO while getting hit to David Sills, and even the Daniel Bellinger throw was not the tightest of windows, but it was a tighter window throw. So good stuff out of Daniel Jones. Kind of needed that, you know, just not in reality because he's going to start week 1 no matter what. But there was, you know, with everything coming at him, I'm sure it feels good to put out a good performance regardless of who it was against and what, first string, second stringers. I'm sure he was glad to get that out there. Also noticeable, Kenny Golladay not targeted at all. Now, I got to go back and watch him to see if he was open or what was happening in the progressions, but he just was not targeted, and he was out there the whole time with Daniel Jones. Other offensive notes. One, just overall, this is the basic staples you're going to see in this preseason. You know, they're not throwing out anything crazy, but it just has more. They have a high tempo, and there's just good space. Guys are open, you know, and that matters. You know, you could say, oh, well, it's the preseason, but the way they're, you know, doing some high to low reads, you know, they put the checkdowns in the middle, which has always been a strength for Daniel Jones. Is him, like, an issue he's had is getting to his checkdowns, but when his checkdowns are in the middle of the field, he's just done better doing that. So, just more space overall. A lot of RPOs. I think there's going to be some, you know, free release RPOs and then your normal ones. And obviously, I think Josh Allen had the most RPO throws in the NFL last year. So obviously, Brian Daboll likes to go to the well on that. So just overall good stuff from the offense scheme wise. And you may say it doesn't matter, but last year, what did we see out of Jason Garrett and Daniel Jones in that preseason game versus the Patriots? Stick, curl flats. It was what Jason Garrett does. So the basics of the offense look good, and I think that's why we were so so excited about the Brian Daboll hire, and then Mike Kafka as the offensive coordinator. Offensive line notes: Evan Neal looked solid. He had one really awesome rep where he pancaked a guy in pass pro. Gave up one pressure versus when Tyrod Taylor entered the game, but even then Taylor kind of floated into it. So he looked good. He needed that outing after last week he struggled. Devery Hamilton, who started the game at left guard and then moved to left tackle, he looked good, and we need someone to step up his depth on the offensive line with all of the injuries. I mean, we had Will Holden, who's been in the league for 5 years, never played center in his life, playing center, and he couldn't even snap the ball. Like, that's how bad the depth issues are right now. So it seems like Devery Hamilton has stepped up to be that guy. Am I going to say right now, oh, he's the swing tackle and we could feel confident? No, but I do think he should be on the roster. You know, if everybody's healthy as like the 8th offensive lineman, and, you know, hopefully you can bring a tackle in or Matt Peart can get healthy by the time the season starts. But that was good to see. But there still is depth issues. Like, it's not a crazy thing to say, you know what, see if Billy Price is willing to come to camp for 9 days and see what happens, see if guys can get healthy by then. But depth still a huge issue with the Giants offensive line. Other notes on the offense: Antonio Williams ran with the one. Saquon didn't play. 5 carries for 26 yards. But the real story with him was 7 catches for 46 yards. Like, he was a good outlet as the check down. And, you know, put together some first downs, some on third down. So he looked good. And he could like battle for that RB2 spot. Matt Breida's been out for over a week now with injury. And Matt Breida's not really your guy that's going to run between the tackles and get behind his pads. Antonio Williams is. You know, he has a lot of yards after contact. You know, there's not much tape out there on him. But if you go back, we watched it. He played for the Bills in 2020 and the last week of the season versus the Dolphins, and he looked really good. You know, it's just one game, but I think Antonio Williams should be a lock to make the roster. Obviously, Alex Bachman, 11 catches, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. You love to see it for a guy who's been around for a long time. Not going to make the roster, but you just like seeing guys like that do well. David Sills, 5 catches for 56 yards. Sills' army is going strong, even though I still don't think he's going to make the roster. Defensively, no one really flashed a ton on defense, and I'm still really worried about Aaron Robinson. He gave up a few plays, and I think it's just reality is setting in for me with Aaron Robinson because we knew he was going to play outside corner this year, but he's a nickel corner. He played nickel corner at UCF. He was drafted to be a nickel corner, and he fits like the modern-day nickel corner, where guess what? You need to be able to play a little man coverage, be physical, fit up in the run game because of teams, you know, spreading their offenses out. Like, you kind of need your nickel corner to be that, and I think Aaron Robinson can be good in that role eventually in the NFL, but he's just not going to be it on the outside. Like, he's going to struggle this year on the outside, and reality is really setting in that he's going to be an issue, and I think it's frustrating that they didn't get any personnel to play that outside corner and let your guy who was drafted to be a nickel corner, I know by the last regime, but nonetheless, who fit this Wink Martindale scheme well as a nickel corner, is being stuck on the outside out of necessity. So I just wish there could be someone who could go out there and play on the outside. I'm not expecting them to be good, but guess what? I'm not expecting Aaron Robinson to be good either, and I think playing him on the outside is going to stunt his growth. So that's going to be an issue. Darian Beavers went down with a knee injury. Micah McFadden didn't make a ton of plays like he did last week. Here's a horrible stat. 7 out of the Giants' 11 rookies are dealing with injuries. Kayvon Thibodeaux today, Evan Neal healthy, Wan'Dale Robinson healthy, Daniel Bellinger healthy, Dane Belton broken collarbone, Darian Beavers injured, Marcus McKeithen tore his ACL, DJ Davidson even went down today. I think he went back in the game, but he left and went into the blue tent. Obviously, Cordell Flaw and Josh Azudu didn't play. They're dealing with injuries. 7 of the 11 rookies are injured right now. Of the rookie draft class. Undrafted free agents made some plays. Ryder Anderson out of Indiana had a tackle for a loss, and he got a piece on a Khalil Dorsey third down sack. Who, you know, he's a nickel corner blitz. So, hey, the Giants' defensive line depth is really thin after Dex and Leo. So if there's a 5th guy, Ryder Anderson might be just fighting for that spot. Quincy Roche didn't pop the way I wish he would have, but he did make a couple plays. Timon Fox, he finished the game. He was the guy on the last play who just smacked the dude. He had a couple nice pass rush moves. Not going to make the team, but still a guy you want to keep around on the practice squad. But overall, Giants victory. The defense still worries me. Offense, obviously, you don't write home and say, wow, the offense is going to be great. But you see good things. Against backups, but you see good things. So appreciate you guys. Make sure to check out the podcast. They'll be out at 8 a.m. on YouTube. Podcast apps will be out 2, 3 in the morning if you're up. Like and subscribe to the channel. I think you'll enjoy it if you're a Giants fan. Appreciate you guys. Let's go Big Blue.